There is a new moon in Virgo, August 22nd, 11:06 p.m. Pacific time. Hello, I'm Eliane Nicole, your astrologer and tarot reader. And as promised, I'm coming with a part 2 to the first new moon of Virgo video that I posted a couple days ago. It's up on my YouTube channel, Eliane Nicole. And I encourage you to watch that video first because I do a deep dive into the new moon and why it's so important because of the seed planting point it is for not only the next month, but leading us into a solar eclipse, which will then define the following month. So we're really looking at a new moon that's got some legs, and it's really starting something that's a 2-month phase in our life. And this is an important phase because this is the lead into eclipse season. The eclipses are coming, and the first is a lunar eclipse September 11th in Pisces. The second is a solar eclipse September 21st in Virgo. So we are going to be in a very powerful eclipse portal from September 11th to September 21st. I'm not going to go into that so much in detail in this video, but I will have a video about that coming, so definitely stay tuned to my channel. But what's going on right now is we are on the precipice of a lot of big changes, about faces, pivots, surprises, shockers, unexpected. I'm going to take it through all 12 rising signs to see where you can be expecting this to happen in your life according to your sun and rising sign. You can watch for your sun and rising. The sun is still going to be accurate. The rising is going to give you the most specific detail. The sun is going to really relate more to your outer life and your career, and then for those who have a night chart, you might want to listen for your moon sign as well. Let's just get into it now. Okay, Aries rising. The new moon of Virgo is in your 6th house of health. So it looks like you are going to be making a really big new start in, your health and fitness regimen, your daily routine. This is also the house of work. So you could be making a new start in work. It could have to do with your employees or staff, if that's applicable. It could have to do with your coworkers, if that is applicable. It can also have to do with small pets. This is a really good time to make sure that you are up to date with all of your doctor's appointments, up to date with all of your checkups, and also your health insurance, making sure all of that is up to date and intact as this new moon is in your house. It's really about just really getting organized and clear around all matters around health, fitness, your eating habits, your work habits, your relationships with your coworkers or your staff. And again, as well, it can be small pets. The square to Uranus for Aries sun and Aries rising is in your 3rd house. So this could be a surprise, something unexpected to do with one of your siblings or neighbors that changes your plans, that comes out of nowhere, unexpected, and you have to respond to it somehow. It could also have to do with communication coming from your siblings or neighbors. It could have to do with if you are writing anything, it can have to do with your writing. There could be a shakeup or disruption around your writing. And it could also have to do with travel. If you have any short trips planned, there could be, a plot twist around that. If you're still in school, this has to do with elementary school and high school. So if you're in school or if you have children who are in school, there could be shakeups or plot twists around your children's like elementary or high school. It's a surprise that you have to deal with. So these are just some of the expressions, but this new moon period taking us from August 22nd to September 21st has big themes around that. And then September 21st is even going to echo more themes about your sixth house, the health stuff, the work stuff, the small pet stuff. So that is Aries rising, great time for a reading. The culminating lunar eclipse will be in your 12th house of mental health and your inner world, and prisons and hospitals and jails and confined spaces and hidden enemies and all of these kinds of things. So really great time for Aries sun or rising to contact me for a reading. I read on Zoom, so I can read for people anywhere in the country, anywhere in the world. I would love to read for you. There will be a link in the description of my YouTube to book a reading with me. Taurus rising and Taurus sun. The new moon of Virgo will be in your 5th house of children. And so there could be a new start going on with your children. If you have children, if you don't have children, it could be with your creative projects. It could also be with romance or pleasure or fun or sex. And this new start, right now, it's just time to kind of, again, with Virgo, we are detoxing, we are, we're purifying, we're cleansing, we're decluttering, we're organizing, and we're getting prepared. But again, no matter how prepared we get, this new moon is square Uranus, and this is in your 2nd house of money and finances. So it looks like Taurus rising, you have a big surprise coming up around your money or finances that is going to require some kind of action in this next month. Gemini rising, Gemini sun. The new moon of Virgo is in your 4th house of home. So this is a new start around home or family. Some may actually be moving, maybe by the following solar eclipse, September 21st. Remember, this new moon takes us from August 22nd to August 21st, but then there's a solar eclipse also in Virgo, bookending the house of home for Gemini. This is the house of home, family, parents, sometimes real estate. Sometimes it can have to do with your body and your health. It is squaring Uranus and Gemini in your 1st house. The 1st house can also have to do with the body and health. So for some Gemini risings, this could bring up an issue in your body or with your health. Not for all Gemini risings. For most, it's going to have to do with the home, the family, the parents, but it also has to do with yourself and your own need for freedom. You may be changing your mind about something with regards to home or family. It may be abruptly, it may require lots of changes and plans. For some, it may be a revelation, a sudden insight that, but it's the mutable sign. So mutable things are changing, and because Uranus is in your 1st house, Gemini, you look like you're the wild card in the situation. You're the one who is pivoting, changing, and it's all very fast moving energy. Quick decisions need to be made, quick choices, quick about faces. In general, this transit of Uranus through your 1st house is one of you wanting to feel liberation, and it's also one where you have a lot of great original ideas and original thinking, and so it's an exciting time for Gemini rising, but it can also be a very restless time and a very fickle time. And so it's really important for Gemini risings to be establishing daily rituals, back to the Virgo new moon, really important to be establishing daily rituals that are calming to your nervous system, that you start the day with and you end the day with, walks in nature, gardening, putting your hands in dirt is always good, hiking, being around the earth, walking on the beach with your feet on the sand. but also just having a daily exercise routine, eating really clean. It's so important to eat really clean during this period. Virgo rules the small intestine. Some people may be experiencing gut stuff. Some people may be experiencing nervous system stuff because the planets are in houses associated with your body, the new moon and Uranus. If you're a Gemini rising, I'm a Gemini rising. I just took a long time on Gemini rising. I love you, Gemini rising. Gemini suns, you'll be able to relate to. Contact me for a reading. Cancer rising. The new moon is in your third house of your daily commute, your neighborhood, your neighbors, your siblings, elementary school, high school. So if you have children in elementary school or high school, it could apply to that. It's a new start in this area. And it can also be a new start. Maybe you're changing your neighborhood or something. It could also have to do possibly with your siblings. A new start for one of your siblings, a new start for a neighbor. It could also have to do with short trips that you are taking. So this might be something that is developing now for you. Uranus, it's square Uranus in Gemini in your 12th house. So it looks like there is some unconscious material you may be dealing with. Maybe it's something that has been repressed or suppressed since childhood. It could be coming up for you and shaking things up for you mentally, and maybe affecting, something with your siblings, or just affecting your experience of your neighborhood in a different way, or something to do with one of your neighbors might be triggering some childhood thing. These are all the different ways this could be coming up for Cancer rising. And but it could just be that your inner world is going through some disruptions right now. It can be mental health related, and so it can bring up anxiety, disrupted sleep patterns, like weird dreams. So, these are the kinds of things for Virgo rising. For Leo rising, the new moon is in your second house. Leo rising, Leo sun, so there's some kind of new financial start that you're making. The square to Uranus is in your house of friends, business associates, groups, organizations. It looks like there's a big shakeup coming with a friend, or else a group or an organization you belong to, or a business associate. It looks like that is going to have an effect on your financial life, creating some new start in your financial life somehow. Virgo rising, the new moon is in your first house, very personal to you. This has to do with your body, yourself, how you see the world, how the world sees you. This is a grand reset, in your life, in your selfhood, in your identity, in your body. And the square to Uranus is with, your public self, so it's your career, your status, your reputation, your vocation. So there may be some shakeup around that for you that is creating a new start in your identity, in your sense of self. And the lunar eclipse will be in your 7th house of marriage and long-term commitments. And so that's another video for another day, but stay tuned, Virgo rising. Great time to contact me for a reading. Libra sun or rising, especially Libra rising, Libra sun, we'll find this accurate too. The new moon is in your 12th house. This is the house of your, this is a mysterious house. The 12th house it's the house of self-undoing. It's the house of hidden enemies. But it's also the house of confined spaces like jails, hospitals, institutions, but also like ashrams. This house has a lot to do with our mental health. And so you are making a new start in this area. You may be dealing with, your inner world during this phase, and somehow maybe addressing things that have been repressed or suppressed in your inner world. I mean, who knows? It could also be the birth of something going on behind the scenes that is going to be, coming out at some point and having a major effect on your life. And but the square to Uranus is in the 9th house. So this has a very spiritual connotation for many Libras and Libra risings. You know, you may be shaken to your core spiritually in some way that makes you do a deep dive into your inner world, into your mental health, into things that you may have been keeping kind of buried or compartmentalized, or, you know, not looking at somehow. And it may be something that happens that shakes you into seeing this. For other Libras and Libra risings, like if you are at, you know, in college, this could be something that happens at the university. It could be something that happens around other students that you're around, classmates, or even a professor. But it looks like a big shakeup that then somehow, causes you to kind of maybe want to retreat or withdraw or kind of go inside and really plant some new seeds for the future in some way. And, for other Libras and Libra risings, this is going to have to do with international travel. And there may be a big shakeup around your travel plans, your travel experience. If you're doing any international business, there could be a shakeup around that. If you are working in publishing or broadcasting, it can bring some shakeups around that. And for Scorpio rising, the new moon in Virgo is in your 11th house of friends and business associates. And so there is a new start. You may be making some new friends that are in this next, few weeks, in this next month, that are going to really be having an impact, become like good friends, It could also be a new start with business associates, a new start, a new organization you're joining, a new group that you're joining that's going to have a significance in your life, majorly over the coming month, but even longer. And the square to Uranus is in your 8th house of other people's money. So there may be some shakeup for you with joint finances. It could have to do with your spouse's finances, or you and your spouse's joint finances. It can have to do with your children's finances, any place where you have joint entangled finances with others. If you have a long-term business partner, if you have, investments, loans, taxes, settlements, alimony, palimony, any of that. There could be shakeups around that for Scorpio rising. And for Sagittarius rising, the new moon is in your 10th house of career and attainment. So you may be making a new start in your career. If you aren't working, sometimes this has to do with your status or your reputation, and that can just be within your community, within, wherever you are, whatever your public stance is. And the square is to Uranus and Gemini in your 7th house of marriage and long-term commitments. So if you were married, Sagittarius rising, this could be an unexpected shakeup or plot twist with your spouse that somehow related to a new start in your career or a new start in your status or reputation somehow. If you are not married, it could be a shakeup in the relationship that you're in. It could be a shakeup with a business partner, creative collaborator, a best friend, any kind of long-term committed relationship you're in. It looks like there is some surprise, unpredictable situation that comes out of nowhere, and that somehow it either relates to a new start within your career and your workspace, or with your status, reputation, or public profile. Capricorn rising and Capricorn sun. The new moon is in your 9th house of spirituality, religion, international travel, cross-cultural experiences, higher education, broadcasting, publishing. So for some Capricorn risings, this may be a new start in higher education of some kind. For other Capricorns and Capricorn risings, this is a new start in spirituality or religion. It may be a new start in international travel or international business of some kind, or a new start in publishing or broadcasting that this new moon is signaling for you. And it's going to be followed up by the solar eclipse, doubling down on the theme of this big new start in one of these areas for you. The square to Uranus is in your house of health. So there could be something unexpected coming up with your health that is going to affect either your plans in terms of this new start in higher education, or spirituality and religion, or international travel, or broadcasting, or publishing. So it's a really good time to make sure that you're on top of all of your checkups, on top of your health, on top of your health insurance. That square to Uranus is, health for a lot of people, a lot of Capricorn risings and Capricorns, but it won't be health for everybody. For some people, it's going to have to do with your work, and it might have to do with your daily routine. And so there could be a big shakeup to your work. It might have to do with your coworkers. It might have to do with your staff or employees, depending on what your situation is. But this shakeup is going to affect the new start that this Virgo new moon is trying to create. It's creating a challenge that needs to be overcome in this cycle. For some people, it will have to do with your small pets, a surprise, a shakeup, a plot twist. So all of those are on the table for Capricorn, Capricorn rising. For Aquarius rising, Aquarius sun, the new moon is in your 8th house of other people's money. And so there's a new start happening. If you're married, it has to do with your spouse's finances. If you're not married, it has to do with anywhere where you have joint finances with others. It can have to do with inheritances. It can have to do with wills. It can have to do with settlements, alimony, palimony, investments, loans, taxes, debts, any of that kind of stuff. It can also be a new start in sex. Sometimes this house has to do with sex. It can be a new start in death. Sometimes this house has to do with death. There could be a big death on the horizon in the lives of Aquarius rising and sun, just because the solar eclipse coming on the 21st is square Saturn. So there are big shakeups and plot twists coming from Uranus and Gemini in the 5th house. This is the house of your children. If you don't have any children, it's your creative projects, it's your fun, it's your pleasure, what you do for fun, pleasure. It could be sex, it could be affairs, it could be nightlife, but there's a shakeup coming up in that area that then somehow relates to a new start with, probably some kind of joint finances or around joint finances with another person. Or it could be joint finances with your children somehow too, because the 5th house is involved. Joint finances in a new creative project. This can also have to do with sex for Aquarius and Aquarius rising. Pisces and Pisces rising, finally, the new moon is in your 7th house of marriage and long-term commitment. So it looks like there's some new start happening either for your spouse or in your marriage. Maybe there's a renewal of vows. For Pisces and Pisces rising who are not married, it looks like a new relationship is definitely on the horizon for you. But there is the square to Uranus and Gemini in the house of home. So for Pisces sun and Pisces rising, there is a big shakeup, plot twist, surprise, unexpected thing happening around the home, the parents, the family, the mother, the homeland, real estate, that is creating a challenge for this new start that you're trying to make in the area of relationship. And so there's a problem or a challenge that needs to be worked through in this cycle in order for that new start to really occur. And this is just cliff notes. This is such broad strokes for all Pisces, Pisces rising. It's going to be different for different Pisces, Pisces risings, depending on where Mercury is in your chart, because Mercury is the ruler of this new moon and of this Uranus. And so you have to know where your natal Mercury is placed to know even more specifically how this is going to play out for you. I'm just giving the broad strokes for Pisces and Pisces rising. it's a great time for you to contact me for a reading. I would love to read for you. I read on Zoom, so I can read for people anywhere in the country, anywhere in the world. I will put a link in the description of my YouTube to book a reading with me. And that's it for all 12 signs through the houses. Thank you so much for joining me. I will put the chapters below for this Virgo new moon through the rising signs. And I will be back soon with more videos. Please make sure that you are subscribed to my channel. Please like, please comment, please share. Helps me in the algorithm and to grow my channel. And I appreciate you so much.